Welcome everyone to the Watchlist, your virtual weekly TV guide right here on the Latin Nerds Network. Ready to give you all this scoop about all the shows that just got released, TVs, movies, documentaries, etc. Let's give you our best recommendations, what to avoid, what to watch, etc. And of course, at the end of the show, let you know what comes out this week so you too can create your very own watch list. Joining us as always to give you our best recommendations, of course, live from Houston, is Senor Jaime, aka Chewy. What it is, what it was, what it shall be, what it is. What's going on, brother?
What is not is I was not at the Dolphins game today.
I was not. I just came back from the Dolphins game. Another easy victory for my Dolphins. I only say my Dolphins when I'm at the game, and I hate the
Yeah, really,
Dolphins.
dude.
And I hate the
Really?
Dolphins when I'm outside the game. But I don't want to get into any fights or arguments during the game. That's how all these viral videos people getting their ass kicked. That's not me. I'll cheer for them. I'll put the little Dolphins cap, and I got my Commanders cap on. As soon as I get home, I'll be talking again, as I say, of course. But yeah, football Sunday here, a little bit late usually with the show. It's been a couple weeks since we've been out of the game. We're back. I was on vacation. I'm back here. A couple weeks that I missed wasn't a whole lot, but this week was actually a lot of shows came out this week and to talk about this week. And next week's another big week of releases, something for everybody. So we'll let you know what's coming out again at the end of the show. But let's talk about this week, and we may not touch on a lot of all the shows that came out, focusing more on kind of the new stuff just for the sake of time. But that being said, as Chewy's team goes down in flames as far as fantasy, we'll continue with
No,
our TV
slow your
talk. I'm
roll.
just kidding.
I got players right
I
now.
haven't even checked that. I'm just joking. I don't check till after the games anyway. But for you guys in between your fantasy lineup, checking in, and winning and losing, a lot to catch up on the TV. Of course, Monday Night Football, but Tuesday through Wednesday, a lot of TV, and of course not Thursday, but Friday get back on the TV. A lot of stuff to talk about. So, but that being said, let's get into it, Chewy. So a couple of documentaries and a movie. We always like to start with documentaries first. So let's do that. I know a couple of shows as we were away the last couple weeks have ended. Things like I don't know what Reservation Dogs and Only Murders in the Building, which I enjoyed both endings to that, of course. But that has gone and passed. Gen V is going on a show I'm enjoying and all that, of course,
Awesome, Gen B.
on Amazon Plus for anybody who's been a fan of The Boys. Of course, a spinoff kind of shows to catch up and all that. But that being said, we're going to focus on the new things this week. For this week, we'll catch up on things like Gen V when that ends in a few weeks and all that. But
What about Loki?
which one? Loki.
Loki.
Like I said, we'll focus on the good stuff. No, I'm just kidding.
Ah, damn.
I'm kidding. I like Loki. I like Loki. I'm kidding.
All right,
I'm
so
joking.
what to say, man?
Loki was good. It's very enjoyable. It was very anti-Ahsoka, and we'll leave it at that because I don't got time for that. But that, it is what it is. That being said, let's start with the Big Vape, which is one of the first two documentaries released this week. Documentaries, everyone's very allergic to them, but you guys should watch them because it's very interesting. And this first one, the Big Vape, of course, the rise and fall of Juul. Juul was probably the big name in terms of the vape and the electric cigarettes, e-cigarettes, of course. This one here focusing on two individuals who started the company, of course, in San Fran, Silicon Valley and all that. They were actually trying to do something good, creating something that could alleviate those who were smoking to get off nicotine and all that. But of course, it was being targeted at the youngins, unfortunately, and it led to a lot of deaths and all that, the young people and addiction by young folks and all that with the whole vaping thing. It was a big news back in the late 2016, 17, etc. If I'm not mistaken. So this kind of chronicles that. It's about an hour and 20-minute documentary. This one is actually pretty good. I enjoyed it. Like I said, it's very recent, so it's in the mind and it'll give you more insight as to get an idea of what these guys were actually trying to do. They didn't quite get there, and it's one where they touch on obviously how the company started and with their intentions and the whole marketing plan, and it was marketed kind of following the footsteps of tobacco, right? Focusing on the young, get them while they're young, and that's not something I think they were aiming towards, but it kind of ended up moving towards that direction. A lot of controversy and suits and etc. as a result. I enjoyed it. It's actually a very good documentary. Maybe it's a recency bias to it because it did happen 4 or 5 years ago, so it's still fresh in the mind. But it was very good, very well done, very informative, and again, it didn't really lean on to the fact that the Juul company, the Juul cigarette, e-cigarette was bad or whatever. It was an evil entity. There was arguments made that what happened as a result. These teenagers who were dying, who got addicted, may have been quite linked to Jewel itself as something, a side effect
No,
as
I
a
think
result.
I
You
think
know,
that's pretty clear. Had nothing to do with the Jewel product itself.
right? I mean,
It was
the
a
perception, right? Yeah.
aftermarket.
Hmm.
No, it was a percent, but it was an aftermarket. And the FDA
Sure.
said it was an aftermarket it was an aftermarket knockoff that they inserted into it, and it was basically with some vitamin E stuff that got into your lungs. Had nothing to do with the Jewel. So let's be fair. Let's not say
No, no,
it
of course,
didn't cause
absolutely,
anything.
absolutely, yeah.
This was third party products that were
Right,
just trying to,
exactly. It's just
yeah.
the narrative that was
But the
pushed as a result.
perception, obviously,
Exactly,
perception
exactly.
conform reality, and but that they let's get honest reporting. It had nothing to do with any of the deaths. There's been no
Sure,
reported deaths as far as the use of the Juul product yet. Obviously, there's still a lot of research to be done because we don't know what the long term effects is
sure.
for consumption of essentially it's a high dose of nicotine. It's I
What
would say overly high.
it's a those, but it's the way that it gets this process and it's not really inhaled. Oh, it's smoked or burned. The
Well,
nicotine is
no,
not. Oh, whatever it is,
it's
right?
it's
It's very
vapor. What
technical.
it is,
Mm.
it's a vaporizing product,
Mhm.
right? You're not there is no combustion. So when you have a cigarette, and you have all these other tar chemicals, and they actually went through and the very last episode, quick experiments, equivalent smoking of Juul and cigarette. And obviously, cigarettes you see the accumulation of gunk and stuff
Mhm.
beyond this nicotine, right? But again, we're not saying it's safe or not because there's no research on what the long term ramifications will be, right? And maybe there isn't. Who knows? But we can't say that now. And maybe 20 years from now, we can say, okay, yeah, it was a better product, and we screwed it up.
No, yeah, yeah, and I like the fact that look, a good documentary is one that kind of strays down
Even
the middle,
keel,
right? Yeah, it
yes,
doesn't like,
they
yeah,
give you
doesn't
both
push the
sides of the
narrative
equation.
exactly. Let you his information, do with what you want,
Hmm.
right? And this one is not
Yes.
pushing a narrative like it's bad or it's good or whatever, right? Just his
Hmm.
information. This is what's being told, so I like that. So I enjoyed it. It's just really cool. It's really well done. Again, the fact that it's recent makes it more interesting. I
Hmm.
assume, Chewy, you were thinking of similar thoughts on that.
No, no, man. I found it very informative, very interesting. 4 episodes, very on point. Giving you both sides. Focus on the company, but the things they did wrong,
Yeah.
right? And that's one of the aspects of it. That this is you take when you're a startup, you take certain steps, and you just can't recover, regardless of how good the product is, regardless of whatever claims it makes. You are done
Yeah.
in public perception, and it's hard to get around that.
No, agreed. Yeah,
But
definitely.
the rise and fall, obviously the guys, they had good intentions. This was a college project that they wanted to
Hmm.
do, and it was what their idea was to make a safer cigarette at the end of the day,
Sure.
right? Did
Absolutely.
they accomplish that? I'd say probably yes. I think most could say yes to a certain degree, but as a company, it failed because, as you said, the marketing that they took, I don't think it was necessarily focused on preteens or young. That was just a byproduct, but they wanted
Right.
to make it hip
Of
and
course, hip,
cool,
cool,
and
exact. Social media.
using. But yeah, I guess when big tobacco was around, there was no social media, so they advertised magazines. They were targeting youth and kids. That was their plan, right, to get
Yeah.
long-term customers. And I think what Jewel was trying to do was just trying to show, or they focused too early on trying to make it look cool, not so much as an alternative to a better alternative to cigarette. And how do you do that? Well, you get influencers, right? Who, with the
Of
advent of
course.
social media, that's how you get it with any product, whatever product it is, alcohol, tobacco, drugs, whatever. You get some people doing it, and it just catches on.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it catches on to the wrong group because they start doing. Well, it's not legal, but they will do it, right?
Yeah, and I
It
think
happens.
they didn't think about it. It's one of those classic, Ian Malcolm, the great chaotician from Jurassic Park, who said, listen, they were concerned about whether they could, they didn't think about whether they should, and that's
Yeah,
kind of what
exactly.
happened here, right? So, but it's
Yeah.
very interesting, and I stand correct. It's a 4 episode, not a 1 hour and 20 minute. My bad.
No, no,
But
it's
it's a
four
four
episodes.
episode, yeah, a
Four
documentary on
hours.
Netflix. Very good, very entertaining. I definitely recommend it. I guess it's very relevant to what's going on now, so I'd actually really enjoy that one. The next one here, which I was surprised, I didn't even know it was in a documentary until right before I started watching and learned and reading into it, and that is on Peacock. They released Suburban Screams. I'm a
Hmm.
horror guy, so I got excited
I don't know if
because
it's a documentary per se, as a dramatization
right, it's kind of
of.
a both, a hybrid, if you will, right?
Okay,
If
yeah,
you will.
yes.
And I thought it was I thought it was a straight anthology horror stories because
No, no,
the name
no,
attached
no.
is John Carpenter. Of course, I love John Carpenter back in the day. The Thing, fantastic classic as far as I'm
Awesome.
concerned. Halloween,
Classic
yeah,
80s horror
Halloween, of
movie.
course, one of the greatest Halloween horror movies of all time, of course.
Well, I would say sci-fi. What's the hybrid sci-fi horror? I think is what
Sci-fi,
it
yeah,
was.
exactly, kind of like
Yeah.
Alien when that came
Hmm.
came after Alien preceded that. But it's other good, like pulpy good action, like little, of course, little Big Trouble in Little China, of course, Assault on
That
Precinct
movie
13.
that movie doesn't
Yeah.
hold up to you. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
it
I saw it
doesn't, but
again
at the
and I was like,
time, it is what it is.
well, at the
Yeah.
time though, I thought it was a shit, and I look
Yeah.
at it
Oh
now, I'm
no,
like,
it's a
this is
bad film. Like I said,
garbage.
very B movie. Things like They Live, I thought was great, and I still,
Oh no, They
yeah,
Live is
yeah,
one of his
R-
premiere,
of
uh,
course,
yeah,
yes.
alien invasion
Yeah, and someone
movie
that's
sci-fi. Yeah.
begging for a remake and just throwing it out there.
Hmm.
But either way, so his name is attached. He actually directed one of the episodes. He did the score for the whole thing because he did the score for Halloween, all of the films. So he's really good at that. But this is more of a, yeah, like I said, it's a hybrid dramatization slash documentary, focusing on the suburban old tales or stories about talking to the survivors of certain aspects. Like the first episode
Hmm.
is one where there's a girl who was found who was missing, and the being dead was kind of put in a bag and sent down a river. Talking to those who, through a Ouija board, were able to communicate with her, et cetera, et cetera. The second one, about not a serial killer, ended up being a serial killer, but someone who was
Yeah, yeah.
got arrested for killing an old individual, got released, and went on the
And
killing spree. Yeah,
came back to town and went on a
et
killing
cetera, et
spree. Yeah,
cetera.
yeah.
So in the dramatization, this one here is interesting because I was excited when you attach John Carpenter. I'm gonna excited. It's for in Halloween time, right? It's of course October. This was kind of a mixed bag for me. The documentary aspect and the stories they tell, I think two of the episodes were interesting. And I think they should have just stuck with that as opposed to trying to
Mm.
dramatize situations because that didn't work. And I try to make it kind of get a horror feel aspect to it. That for me was a huge fail. That didn't work. It's very B level, amateurish in terms of that. The acting is really bad. I think I took away from. They could have just focused on making it just a straight up documentary of what's going on because the stories are cool. They're really cool, and interesting. But yeah, I still,
No, I agree.
I
It's
still slightly
okay.
recommend
It's
it.
okay.
Yeah, I'm still
I
slightly
mean,
recommending it.
I mean, it's what, like I said, it doesn't focus. It doesn't focus too much on supernatural or crime per se. It's kind of like I said, it's a very mixed bag of stories or true
Yes,
stories,
of course, right,
right? It's
right.
true events,
Mhm.
but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's okay. It's just okay.
Yeah,
You have sometimes a
yeah.
burn, watch it, but
It didn't quite
you
hit the
know,
way I wanted to hit.
yeah,
If you're gonna,
not what I was expecting.
yeah, if you're gonna do
Not
a
what I was expecting.
dramatization of this stuff as the narration of those who were actually involved in those incidents, survivors or whatever you want to call them, it just didn't quite work. It kind of reminded of Cleopatra that Netflix had a few weeks ago, a few
Mm,
months ago, where Cleopatra, didn't know the story and it's really well done, but then tried to dramatize it, and those parts didn't work for me. And this is kind of the same thing. But
yeah.
particularly, you attach John Carpenter's name to it, I expect more. And expectations is the breeding ground for disappointment. That's what it is. And it's exactly what happened here. Not terrible. I like the stories and they're cool. If they just done a straight up documentary, I thought it would have worked better, to be honest with you. So it's
Mhm.
one where, like, if you're into that, you can watch it. But I'm not gonna say I recommend it, to be honest with you. I think there's other things to watch than this, to be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah,
It's kind of a miss.
that's a fair assessment.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I figure we're on the same page on that one. The movie released this week, The Burial, on Amazon Prime. It's actually got a limited theatrical release. This one starring, of course, Tommy Lee Jones, Jamie Foxx. Jamie Foxx, it's a true story. Jamie Foxx playing an attorney who is from Florida, who's an injury attorney who, we got Tommy Lee Jones, who's a family guy who has like a family business, a burial business, a cemetery, whatever. And there's burial insurance, and he tries to make a deal with a big company, try to maintain his position because he's losing money, needs support, financial support, and he got kind of swindled to a certain degree, and he decided to sue them. Hires Jamie Lee Foxx, of course. This guy was like a flashy attorney with the watch and the clothes. He got a plane called what is it? The Wing of Not a Wing Avenger. The Wings of Justice was his private
Jesus.
plane. It's a true story, and this guy ended up suing Disney and Anheuser-Busch and won both cases, multi hundreds, six figure, judgments and all that. So he hires them to help him win the case. Chewy, I'll let you go first. Here, your thoughts on this one, whether you thought it was enjoyable or not on Amazon.
I have just I didn't watch it yet.
Oh, you
I
didn't
was
watch it?
supposed to watch it
Oh,
today.
okay, okay. No, actually,
No,
okay. So I'll
actually, I went back and watched not into the Across the Spider Verse instead.
well, I'll tell you what. Listen, there's nothing to do with Bird, but Across the Spider Verse should be watched before this movie. No doubt about it. I love Across the. However, that out of the way, I actually enjoy this one. It's actually a very well done film. It's tropey, of course. It's kind of courtroom drama. This is basically what the movie is, a courtroom drama. I like Jamie Foxx as this attorney, flamboyant attorney, and he's doing what he needs to do to get win the case. I like Tommy Lee Jones, good chemistry there, an enjoyable film. The fact that it's a true story makes it even better. I actually liked it, and actually I'm gonna recommend this film for you guys. It's a about 2 hour and 10 minute watch. Very enjoyable. I liked it. True story. It works. It's funny. Actually very light. Again, tropey. So it's not gonna break new ground here. It's not attempting to do so, but just tell a good story about a court case. A lot of racial issues in there because the trial takes place in Mississippi, which is why Jamie Foxx's character was actually brought in from Florida because he can relate to the jury who was predominantly black at the time in that area. This movie took place back in the 90s. As far as the story, the timeline. But very good. I actually enjoyed this one. I'm actually recommending. It's actually a pretty good fun film too. You should definitely check it out if you get a chance. It's actually very fun, well done film. Very enjoyable. Nothing's not gonna break. It's not gonna, break the bank here, but it's pretty good. It's actually well done, so I enjoyed it. Let's go to the shows, man. And I'm gonna let you take because I didn't get a chance to see this one. I have to make some cuts. I just got back from vacation, all that. But The Shining Veil.
Excuses. No, I skip it. I haven't seen it yet. I got rid of stars. So next.
Oh, well, there's no. Listen, Shining Veil. I like the first
Check
season.
it out.
It's very
The
good.
season was good, but it wasn't worth paying stars.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I thought you still had stars, so that's my mistake.
Nope.
But I like the first season. Courtney Cox in this one. Kind of a horror comedy kind of show. Like if you have stars, is one I recommend. I heard good things about season 2, so you guys should definitely watch that. I didn't see this one. I'm not sure if you did or not, but I'm gonna take a chance on it here, and that's Goosebumps on Disney Plus.
I did see it.
Okay.
Yes, I saw 3 episodes already.
Okay, so I'm gonna let you go first on Goosebumps. Of course, we know it's based off the famous
R.L. Stein. There's been a movie. There's been with Jack Black,
which was not good.
You read the books.
Yeah, it's not good. And like it now, I was gonna watch it, but then I said to myself, "Oh wait, it's Disney Plus. I'm a pass because it's Disney Plus." I gotta be fair. What am I telling
Loki, man, come on, dude, come on.
Listen. The sun shines on the dog's ass every so often, right? So I get it, but it's still Disney Plus, and let's be real about Disney Plus, right? Let's not make no assertions about the lack of quality that comes out of that stream, right?
Yeah, yes, that's all true.
I probably would have given it a chance, but I had to catch up some of the old shows that I had missed over the 2-week period I was gone. So Chewy, please jump in. As Goosebumps, is this worthy?
It is worthy. It is worthy.
Really? Okay.
Yes, it's not a kiddie take on the books. Like I said, I never read the books. I don't think my kids read the book. They're familiar with it. I think they saw the Jack Black movie and they thought it was okay, right? Because they were kids at the time. But this is actually a good watch, man. It hits the right notes with the right level of scary and mystery. And obviously, it's Halloween related because it's this time of the year.
Of course, yeah.
But it does have some horror to it as well, and so it actually starts off with a very gruesome scene. Like, okay, I like where this is going already. Okay. Obviously, they don't have to get into the gore, right? It's still Disney, but you can kind of fill in the blanks, and it's not pretty what happened to this one individual. But I'll leave it at that. But they dropped 5 episodes, and it goes weekly from there. So it's actually a very good watch. I've enjoyed it, surprisingly so, because the stuff that Disney Plus has given us has not been, Mandalorian or some of the Marvel related has not been good.
Right.
It has been canceled very quickly.
It's a mixed bag. Yes. Let's be honest, right? No, that's fair. Listen, maybe this is one I may catch up on later. Like I said, I just didn't get a chance. Yeah. I know next week's busy, so I probably won't. But I'm keeping that back burner. Okay, yeah. Like I said, I didn't hear anything about it, so I don't know. So I'll take your word for it. And like I said, I don't mind watching. I kind of wanted to see it, to be honest with you. This was on Netflix. If it was on Netflix, I probably wouldn't have made it a point to kind of try to.
You probably you already have. I take them out to Disney Plus, but I think it's got positive ratings on Rotten Tomatoes.
Fair enough.
And so I think it's a good take on the R.L. Stein IP, right? His stories and his books.
This next one here on a streamer, which I'll actually watch almost anything they put out because I like Apple Plus. I like what they put out. Generally, it's high quality television. Not all the time. Don't get me wrong, but most times there is. Was a show I I don't know why I kept watching it, but I just did, and I regret it. And that's
Oh,
the
Changeling.
Changeling on Apple
I
Plus, which
stopped. I stopped.
I,
I couldn't do anymore. I was
yeah,
out. I'm done.
not good.
I'm done.
But hey, listen, no one bats 1,000, right? I get it. You
That's
get
true.
things like Foundation and Ted Lasso and et cetera, Silo and all that. So great
Oh,
shows on Apple Plus.
awesome, Ted Lasso.
But I got a new show coming out, which you didn't even mention. I didn't know it was coming out. You didn't tell when you sent me the list. I didn't get on the list, and that's the Lessons of Chemistry.
Oh, I thought it did that.
You were a chemistry guy, so I figured this is maybe up your alley. But but that being said, we got Brie Larson, everyone's famous, favorite toxic feminist. It depends who you ask, of course. Captain Marvel. She's kind of a pain in the ass, but she's a good actress. I'll give credit where it's due. And this one here, of course, focusing on her characters, takes place in 50s, right? Yeah, she's obviously a chemist. She's got her degree, didn't get her master's, and of course, this is the time where
No, they didn't get her PhD.
she didn't get a PhD, right? Correct. An incident occurred, which I'll leave, so not to spoil it. Of course, she's struggling because obviously at that time it was more of a patriarchy, a man's world, no doubt about it. And she ends up, she's trying to do her thing in chemistry, and ends up pairing up with a scientist who is actually doing well for himself, and he's pairs up with him to create. I forgot what do researching, but she ends up beginning to show. They kind of allude to the fact that she's doing a cooking show. Right, and so basically, I would assume
8 years later.
Yeah, years later in a row. So it ends up chronicling what happened between her trying to be a chemist, to her being a TV personality doing a cooking show and all that.
When I saw that, I thought of. I'm not sure if you're familiar with this. I'm not sure how much of what the network is. The Food Network, but Alton Brown. She kind of reminded me of Alton Brown a little bit because who has a very scientific spin on cooking, right? And get into the elements and the reactions of different things. So I was like, I saw her like, Alton Brown.
Yeah, she approaches Bree's character approaches cooking as she's in a lab, right? Science,
yes.
And the cooking times and how long, and she writes it down, and she'll do it, run through how many times until she perfects whatever she's doing in cooking wise. So I assume that's how it leads into it, but. Begins kind of like a love story, right? She develops a relationship with with the scientist and all that, and there's 2 episodes that dropped, and I was like, okay, it's okay. I was watching it, like, fine. I was almost gonna get off the show, to be honest with you, because I didn't think it was all that. But then the second episode, the way it ended, I'm like, oh, I did not see that coming. Like that kind of changed, because I had this, this is gonna get kind of tropey. I know where this is going. It subverted expectation, and I gave you something like, wow, and it totally changed. Well, I think the show is gonna go, and it makes sense to how she ends up doing what she's doing. So I'm recommending it for now. It's okay. The way it ended really leads to something very interesting. As far as now, I don't want to spoil it, so I'm not gonna say anything chewy. I assume you watched it.
Yeah, I saw both episodes.
Okay, so I'm gonna leave it at that. But it leaves you off in a position where, like, okay, now I'm interested. It's not exactly what that was going to be, right? It's a typical love story kind of thing. Yada yada yada. I actually enjoyed this. Chewy, your thoughts?
I thought it started very slow.
Agreed.
And I was like, borderline bored through the first episode.
Yes.
Right. Fair. And then yes, we got to the second episode and that ending. I'm like, oh, okay. Oh, wow.
Right.
Like, whoa.
Yeah.
But I saw it coming. I wasn't shook.
As it happened, yes. Correct.
Yes, because I don't want to get into it, but the events that was in my mind, because they laid that trap in the first episode where there was a near miss. Right. Oh, I'm not sure if near miss, but it was in the same general area and crossing the street, and then you see the bus, and you remember that why they show that? Like, okay, they were setting you up for this. So
yes, absolutely, and that really saved it for me. Because it hadn't ended that way, I don't know if I would have continued watching this show. It's just not for me. I'm not saying it was bad. It's just not my thing. But now it got more interesting. Now I'm like, okay, let's see where this goes. Interesting story. I like, Brie Larson does a good job here. Obviously I'm not, I think it's well done. And there is a lot to her backstory, which is very interesting. Very relatable to things that happen currently. So I get that. So yeah, I recommend it. I guess I think if a second episode, give it a shot. If you're watching the show, give it a shot. At the second episode, I think you guys might like, okay, I'm in for the most part. This last one here, this is one I was really looking forward to, and that's this is on Netflix, dropping a limited series. Mike Flanagan who I'm a big fan of. He's done a lot of good stuff on Netflix, whether it be the Haunted House on Haunted Hill and the sequel to that, which I really enjoyed. Midnight Mass we talked about a couple weeks ago, which is a show I really liked. There's the other one that's kind of that I think takes place in the 80s with the kids, which I enjoyed. It didn't get renewed, but I liked it. But
I remember that one. I
forgot the name.
Yeah,
but I did enjoy that show, and he does kind of I would say horror is not meant to be the right word per se, but definitely very dark. Was horror.
Midnight Stories? Something was it Midnight Stories?
Midnight something. Well, Midnight Mass is the other one. Midnight Mass is great. It really is. I really like
never mind. Yeah, I'm confused. Midnight Mass.
But I forgot the name of that one was. But nonetheless, he's done really well. Netflix here. We got In the Fall of the House of Usher, because it's based off the story of Edgar Allan Poe, an updated story, obviously. On this one here, I'm looking forward to this one. I heard some really good things about this one. Here we have gentleman Roderick Usher is the main character, who is the head of a CEO, whatever, owner of a huge conglomerate pharmaceutical company, right? A huge company making tons of money. He's in the midst of getting sued or whatever, prosecuted because it's pharma. They kind of take this whole like OxyContin kind of spin to it. Things that he's doing with pharma. We know those stories. And his family, right? He's got 6 kids, all different mothers for the most part. I think 4 of them are different mothers, 2 but 1 mother. And over a 2-week period, all the kids start dying off, all of them, and end up all 6 of them had died. And that's the premise of the situation. There's some supernatural elements that are behind it, and it tells a story of him kind of going over what happened, what led him to that point, why his kids were dying for a reason. Again, very gothic kind of dark horror kind of theme to it. This family, which is draped in depravity and decadence, corruption, dysfunction, you name it, is there. And for a show, let's always say this, it was kind of odd. This is one of the few shows I could say that doesn't give you a likable character for the most part. It doesn't, right? Because usually a show needs to have that for the most part. But despite that, it really worked, man. I was all in for the first episode. I was gonna take my time, but unfortunately, my wife got involved, and wife gets involved watching the show. She's a streaming whore, so she's got to watch all of them, like as much as she can, and as much as in one night as possible. So we ended up finishing the whole series in a couple of days. It is what it is, right? Because she gets involved, it's a wrap. What am I gonna do? Happy wife, happy life. That being said, I really enjoyed this. This was, for me, really hit well. This is a big home run. Another great show by Flanagan. I love the story. I love the tone and what was going on with the story. Very intricate, what was happening. And again, despite the fact that everybody sucks on this show, right? It just getting that comeuppance and why it ended up being how they got there really worked for me. This, for me, was an absolute high recommendation. Chewy, your thoughts on this one?
No, man, I was hooked, man. The premise was great. The tone was great. It has that, definitely, you can see where it pulls from the Edgar Allan Poe story, and it has that feel to it and his style of horror storytelling, scary storytelling. I'm not sure. The main guy is semi likable, the head of the family, because as he's telling the story, I mean, he was basically a mailroom guy. Well, honestly, it tragic beginnings with his mom, right? And dying because she refused to take medicine or didn't want nothing to do with it. She relied on
very religious,
on God to save her for whatever reason. And so these are 2 kids that were orphaned very young. I think the father was the guy she was having an affair with, if I'm not mistaken. So no father in the picture, bad guy all around. So that's someone you definitely dislike. So he started from humble beginnings, but obviously you start making decisions, you get involved with the supernatural, and this is where you end up. And I think he's retelling his story because I think he has obviously regret that this is how it turned out, or it's going to turn out. Yeah. And so from that perspective, he's semi-likable because he wasn't a bad guy to begin with. The kids were.
He wasn't, but obviously the things that he did. Listen,
the sister was
his sister, who's I think I want to say a twin sister. I don't know, but I'm not sure.
Pretty sure. Fraternal twins, obviously.
Obviously, right? Yeah. She is a scumbag.
Yes.
He just kind of fell into that, so he's still a scumbag. But listen, he's whatever you think of a pharmaceutical company, he's it, right? All the bad things you hear about,
Yeah,
that's who he
yeah.
is, right? They're painting that
The
picture.
hiding of things and not reporting, trying to get around the law. Yeah,
Of course,
obviously
right?
they did all that.
Of
So
course,
yes.
and yeah. So and
But no,
it's
but
it's a
it's a
yeah,
great show, man.
it
It's
really
so it's
is.
such a
Yeah.
good watch, man, and it's got enough of that supernatural
Mhm.
horror element that keeps you on edge, and you see what he's seeing, but obviously no one else sees it because it's in his mind or it's in
Mhm.
his vision, especially with the spirits and the mom and because he's retelling his story in his original house, right? So it starts off with the mother's ghost, I assume, because
Right.
he tells the person to turn around. So I'm not sure if the person can actually see her or not. Everyone else, we know he can't see because as they come towards him, when they touch him, he doesn't see anything.
Yeah,
So
he's having
but
he's had visions of his
yes,
kids
he's
who are dead, obviously.
exactly, yeah,
Which is not a
coming back to
spoiler,
him
right? It's
one
not a
by
spoiler. The
one.
first
Yeah,
episode you
no,
establishes all six kids die
yes,
and within 2 week period.
hmm yes, yeah,
Right, and he's seeing and yeah, absolutely, he's getting visions and is it real or not? Who knows, right? And the show kind of toes that line with like what's reality and what's not. They did a
hmm
really good job. I would say there's actually one likable character. And I won't say I'll leave it at that. Tricks. I know you haven't finished it. I won't spoil it, but
okay,
everybody gets to come up in for a particular reason.
okay,
But that being said, yeah, actually, yeah, dude, it's a home run. Man. I really like this one. It's really good.
yeah.
It's really good.
Oh, I
It's
know what
so
you're talking
engaging.
about. Okay.
I won't say anything.
Well, we can say
I will
the
leave it.
granddaughter is obviously, I think,
Oh,
probably the one you're referring
correct.
to
Agreed. Yes,
because
yes.
she's still innocent. Right? She
Right.
hasn't been
Yeah.
tainted.
She's not a main character in the show per
But
se.
granted, the mother probably didn't deserve what she got.
Right, right. I guess
Yeah.
it's yeah, it's not. She's not a main character in the show, but everyone else is.
No.
The
Yeah.
comeuppance comes and it's well deserved.
No, but I mean,
All around.
the granddaughter's mother, who is
Mhm.
not she's married to one of the sons,
Yeah.
right? I mean, she was, I mean, she wrong place, wrong time, probably. I mean, that
Right,
time
but
is,
she still was
you
doing
know.
something she probably shouldn't have. But that
Well,
being
I mean,
said,
she was just there. She was bored. She
no,
was just there. I mean, the curiosity got
ultimately,
the better of her, right?
she
And
doesn't.
so,
She's not part of the whole thing. She doesn't get the comeuppance. I'll leave
no,
it at that.
no.
Uh,
Oh, okay, okay,
right, but everyone else does. And I'll leave it at that. But this is
okay.
very well done, very well told. It's so intriguing. Like
Oh, and
I was
it's
so
good to
hooked,
see
so
Luke
hooked.
Skywalker
Oh my God,
eating
Mark
again.
Hamill plays the attorney for the Usher family.
Ah.
Come on, bro, stop. That alone, you got Luke Skywalker fighting the forces of supernatural evil. Come on, if that doesn't hook you, I don't know. I don't know what does. If that doesn't hook you, then stop watching TV.
There you
I'm
go.
gonna tell you.
There you go. There
Go
you
watch
go.
Disney Plus for Christ's sake. But he was great.
Ahsoka.
You know, I saw him like, oh my God, is that Luke? Luke.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
and he's actually very cool, very interesting character.
Yes,
And he's
yes.
got a very fascinating arc.
Okay,
By
good.
the end of the show, like, oh, that's an interesting take. I didn't expect what he did, what he ended up doing at the end of the show to occur. So yeah, I'm gonna chew when you get there. But it was very well done. Really enjoyed the show. This is borderline must watch. Very good, excellent
Good.
show. This is one it's borderline, like I said, borderline must watch on Netflix again. 8 episodes, limited series, obviously, and another big hit from Mike Flanagan. Listen, for me, it's maybe his best show. I don't know.
I got that. I got
It
that.
might be a knee jerk
You can have
reaction.
that. You can have that discussion.
Yeah, it's an argument there. Whether I mean, I was a huge fan of Haunted Hill Magic, whatever it's called.
The house of
House on
Haunted
Haunted
Hill.
Hill. I was a big fan of Midnight Mass. This may be the best one. It really is. It's very interesting, very fascinating, very well
That's
done.
it.
So yeah, absolute
That's it.
home run for them. So this for me is the recommendation for the week. If you watch nothing else, give the show a chance. And it's not really a horror. It's got horror elements to it, but it's more of a mystery thriller than anything else.
Well, I mean, the
Than true
horror
horror.
is
Than
what
true
adds
horror.
the element of fear, right, and the
Correct, right.
tension,
The paranoia and all
because
that, yeah. Yeah,
yes,
but it's not like a
exactly.
horror show per
It's
se.
not a slasher.
No,
Kind
no,
of slasher
of
like
course
that.
not, of course not. But it's yeah, very well done, excellent show. So definitely recommend it. I was really happy with that one. I'm glad, again, the expectations, the breeding ground for disappointment. Not in this case. Quite the opposite on this one. So I really enjoyed it. Let's talk about next week. Next week is packed. I mean, packed. And some things might fall by the wayside. I don't know what we'll discuss next week. But in our fairness.
One show I forgot to add that
Oh,
I had no idea it came out today. So let's talk about that first.
oh, sure.
Season two on MGM Plus.
Oh,
So the five
okay.
customers who are subscribing to that.
Sure. I heard there was 7
Okay,
customers now who subscribe to it. So
yeah,
congrats on
exactly.
MGM folks.
So I've been
Increasing.
watching obviously, I'm watching Winter King. But I think the new season of Billy the Kid dropped today, which was a surprise. So I had no idea.
Okay.
So season two.
Okay.
So very great Western, obviously historical. and I think it gives an honest take on the legend of Billy the Kid
Okay. Yeah,
or
I mean, I've heard of this show.
William
Yeah,
H.
yeah.
Bonner.
Yeah, I don't have MGM. I know some good shows. That kind of horror show I heard is really good. We talked about that
Well,
before.
from obviously
From.
I've seen both
Thank you.
seasons.
Yeah,
Great,
from. I heard it's really good. Yeah, I
show.
heard it's really good.
Godfather Harlem. Oh,
I love Godfather Harlem.
excellent
Yeah,
show,
great
man.
show. You
So,
can catch that on Hulu. Fantastic. Very
mhm,
good with Forrest Whitaker as the headline there.
mhm.
A very good show. So, but this week, man, this week is packed. So
Wow.
let's get to here starting today. Later on today, that's Rick and Morty coming back with season
Woo!
7. Is it season 7? I think it's season 7.
Season 7, man. Season 7.
I don't know if this is the last one. I have no idea, to be honest with you.
No, it's not the last one.
Okay, not the last one. I'm a big, huge Rick and Morty fan. Both are. And obviously, I got to see how interesting. There's a change because, what's his name?
The new voice, Justin Roiland, is no longer associated with the show.
He got Me Too'd. So there's going to be some changes to the show. And curious to see how that affects the show, if anything. Huge fan of the show. Animated grades on Adult Swim. Of course, that starts today. On the 17th, we got documentary The Devil on Trial. This one here, this is the about an hour and something change film. It's not a series.
About 127.
127, but not
based on a case that basically where they claim, they took the defense that the devil made me do it.
Yeah, the first case that they used that defense, the devil made me do it defense. So it's fascinating, interesting. Netflix, usually with documentaries, does very well. A la The Big Vape, which we talked about earlier. On the 19th, we got a show. This one's actually very fascinating premise. Bodies. On
limited
Netflix, series. This one kind of tells the story of, I think it's like 4 different timelines, all tied in by a murder and 4 different
four different murders.
Yeah, 4 different murders, all kind of tied in together. Some mystery behind it. I'm a big sucker for time travel stuff when done correctly. It sounds interesting, Chewy. I'm looking forward to the show a lot because I like that kind of thing. Yeah, so let's see how it gets done. On Peacock on the 19th, this is again both these shows on Thursdays. Wolf Like Me season 2. I never saw season 1. Josh Gad, Eiley Fisher. If I'm saying
I love it. Yeah,
of course, Wedding Crashers, for example. I'm not sure what the show's about, to be honest with you, Chewy. I didn't see the first season, to be honest with you.
I mean, so this is obviously, in the theme of Halloween. This is she's a werewolf essentially, right? Spoiler alert. And he falls in love with her, unbeknownst to him that she turns, every full moon and stuff. So that's the premise.
This is a comedy, right? I'm wrong in that, or no? Or dramedy? No. I don't know. You tell me. I guess I didn't see the first season, so I don't know.
I don't think it's comedy. Okay. I mean, it's probably more drama.
Okay.
Maybe some of it's comedy, but I don't think it's billed as a dramedy or a comedy.
Fair enough. So the first season recommended?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I watched it. So
Yeah, it's one I kind of curious. I may go back and watch it at some point. I probably won't watch it this week. I'll let Chewy watch it, but I'll probably catch up on this one.
This is probably more on the scary horror side of things.
I'm all for. I don't know how big next week is. Maybe I'll watch it next week, the week after. But yeah, it sounds interesting. And just want to go back and watch. On the 20th, Friday, of course, we got about 4 or 5 things coming out. First one, Amazon Prime's Upload season 3. This was a comedy here, which I think,
that's a comedy.
Yeah, we both enjoyed. We got the main character who passed away, and this takes place in the future at some point, and you can upload your conscience to the web or whatever. And depending on how much money you have, the better your life is. This quote unquote afterlife in a digital world.
Virtual afterlife.
Right, the virtual life to life. So it's very interesting, very funny. I like the mystery behind what's going on with that. So I've been enjoying the show. It's not great, but it's solid. That comes out on the 20th. We got Netflix Creature on 20th. This one here is
it's a Turkish show.
Yeah, Turkish show. So we're rolling the die here. I'm a big fan of some of the prior Turkish releases, but it's kind of a Frankenstein-esque kind of story.
I think so. Right? Yes, I believe so. Yeah. A take on the Frankenstein mythos.
Right, exactly. I guess it takes place in whatever the time frame, the time period, and I guess someone who took up the scientific experimentation on whatever it is takes over and it creates something. They don't really say in the trailer, but it's something kind of like a Frankenstein. So on Freevee, we have Bosch Legacy. Second season on Freevee. Bosch used to be on Amazon Prime, which I really enjoyed. First season was good, so second season is coming out for those who are familiar with the show. On the 20th as well on HBO Max. Well, I keep saying HBO Max. It's Max. HBO.
The Max.
Whatever. And that's 30 Coins, a Spanish show, which
this was a shock. This is I had no idea this was coming back. I thought it was done.
I did too. I had nothing. I heard nothing about it.
It's
And
been 3 years. It's been three
it's been 3 years.
years.
Wow. Wow.
Three
Okay. So it's been
years.
a while. I'm
Yes.
gonna have to really watch that recap because
No, no. Oh, yeah. Recap. Yeah, you don't want to go back because our last episode was garbage, and we thought this show
right,
was
it
done.
didn't end
Because
well. Yeah.
no, it ended
Yeah,
terribly. I
it
mean,
really
up to
did.
that point, it was great. It had the right tension, it had
Yes.
the right mystery, the
Yes.
religious aspect, demons, angels, and
Yeah,
whatnot.
because they took
But
the
then
30
the last
coins. And,
episode was just like it's like where's Fonzie, where's the bike, where's the shark?
yeah,
I mean, it
yeah, it was
was
odd, which is I'm curious to continue the show because maybe they kind of retcon that. I don't know, but 30 coins referring to the coins that I think Judas was paid at the time when, of course, he betrayed
yes for the
Christ.
betrayal of
Yeah,
Jesus. That's
and
correct.
his coins are
Yes.
being, possessed. You have all them possess, something in terms of the evil and darkness and the devil and yada yada yada. Is one of those shows.
Yeah. The
Yeah,
guy that's trying to get these coins, and
right.
obviously there's a fight going on. There's a lot of supernatural
And
elements,
it's very
and
listen,
obviously,
yeah, those
yeah,
first
they had the one where they had the mirror dimension, which that was a
yes,
great
yeah,
episode, right?
very
When they
cool.
go
Yeah,
to the mirror.
like the first seven
Yes,
episodes, you're right, were really really
yes,
good.
well,
I
great.
was like, wow,
And
this
that
is a really good show.
ending was like, what the hell is
Yeah,
going
I
on
didn't like
here?
the ending at all. So I don't know. I'm gonna watch it because I enjoyed
We'll
the first
see.
season.
We'll see.
So
Yes.
I'm surprised, but it's coming back, so great. Another one I forgot to mention was Old Dads. I think Bill Burr's a comedy on Netflix and all that.
I was like,
Whatever. I'm not gonna watch it, but to be fair, it's
mm,
coming out. So if you guys are interested, fair enough. I think that might be getting a theatrical release. I'm not sure. But that being said, so it's a lot of things. With that's 9 things coming out. It's a lot. It's a big week. So
mhm.
again, some things may get lost in the shuffle there, as I'm not sure. I have to decide what I'm going to watch and what not watch. Our focus here is always talk about the newer seasons of things, right? Season 2, 3s, and all that. Listen, if you're not watching the show by season 2 or 3 or 4, you're probably not going to watch it, right? Let's be
Yeah,
clear, right? I mean,
you're
it
done.
is what it is, right? If you're not caught up by the show, I doubt you go back and watch it,
You're done.
and it's hard to go back and watch the show because so many things drop. So we'll focus on some of the newer stuff, season ones, for the most part, moving forward. But that being said, a lot of things next week. We'll talk about those. Again, we're looking for support. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. Help us out there. Hit the like button, subscribe, notification. We appreciate it. Here every Sunday, the watch list. I don't want to hear you don't know what's going on. Your friends tell you I don't know what to watch. Nonsense. There's always something to watch. You just don't know what it is. That's what we're here. That's what we're here for you guys to let you know what's coming out. You guys can watch it. There's always something. I'm not saying watch all these shows because no, I get it. But there's always something dropping, no doubt. Even if it's 1 or 2 shows, a la The House of the Father of our show, which I think is the big one for this week. You guys should definitely
Even if
watch
it's
that.
bad, we'll tell you.
Yeah, listen, there's some shit. There's garbage out there, and we'll let you know. Please stay away from it. Not everything's garbage, of course, but there are some shit there. But there's a lot of good shows people just kind of miss or don't know about, have no idea. That's what we're here for. Subscribe. Join us every Sunday. Me and Chu will break this down, and we'll see you guys next week.
Peace.